Cái chừng này nay mình sẽ review version. PTFS is getting an upgrade version is getting. Cái này là upgrade tiếp theo. Okay.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. So today I am going to be telling
Quên nhá. Thì tiếng Anh thì đây phụ đề đây. Nào là từ đọc nha. Này phụ đề dịch từ đọc. Mình không dịch nhanh lắm. Chứ nào biết nói, không biết thôi. Ok.
you what are all the new features in this update, and I'm also joined by Orange.
Hello.
Mới đầu giờ tôi thấy update này. Đây. Đó. Đây là con đường của mấy xe Ground Crew Station rồi nha.
That your animation didn't really work there.
But the input lag.
Right, so I've made a list of stuff to cover because there is an absolute ton of stuff, and I don't need to give you some of the boring details like bug fixes and stuff, but I will tell you stuff which you would like to know. So let's get on with it. Right, so before I actually explain the first feature, let me...
Đây. Mới đầu vào thấy nha. Cô sẽ kỹ nè.
So let's get on with it. Right, so before I actually explain the
Đó. Mà điều khiển nhìn nó sẽ khác hơn.
first feature, let me just tell you that the entire plane system for PTFS has been completely recoded from
Đấy, đây là con đường của Ground Crew nha. Mấy cái xe dưới mặt đất ấy.
scratch, and I made it entirely for PTFS, so it works very well and has a ton of new PTFS exclusive features. So let's get into those. So the first thing you'll probably notice is there's actually no plane tool. The moment you get in the plane, it's just probably notice is that there's actually no plane tool.
Rồi.
The moment
Đây. Mới đầu tiên. Wow.
you get in the plane, it's just instant, straight away, you have the GUIs and you're ready to go. So the next thing is a brand new camera system. So the first
New camera system. Bắt đầu vào đi. Ban đầu nếu mà mình lên ai chịu xem ở phần trên dưới đúng không? Nhờ có thể quay free luôn.
of the camera system is the attach view is slightly different. In the old version, you could only look up and down normally. Now you can also look left and right while holding right click, but it will recenter the left and right movements when you release the click. So this is useful for taking a peek out at either side, maybe if you're doing formation.
Đây. Thường nó sẽ không có cái này nha. Đó. Chắc chắn tin nó sẽ giới thiệu cái này.
Or something, or you just want to have a look around, and then the moment you let go of right click, it will maintain your up and down look, but it will reset your left and right look. And before we take off, there are actually two new options in the options menu, so I will go to that now. Right, so in the options menu, you see we've got infinite fuel and hold space to exit. So let's explain those. So infinite fuel, you can
cái này infinite fuel không giới hạn nhiên liệu, không giới hạn xăng, hơi space reset là giữ phím space bar để thoát ra ngoài. Không phải thoát ra ngoài game nha, thoát ra ngoài máy bay.
Probably guess. Basically, it just means any plane you fly will never run out of fuel. It will always be at full fuel. And the second thing is hold space to exit. Before, when you clicked the space bar, if you have the option disabled, and in the current game, you'll just jump straight out if you tap spacebar. But now, with the option enabled, it means you have to hold it for a second before you actually jump out. This is to prevent you from accidentally jumping out. So as you can see, tapping it, I don't get out. I have to hold it for a second, and then I get out. Oh no, I'm going to crash into this light post. But, as you can see, you don't glitch out like mad when you crash into stuff. It just kind of holds you there. It's not a massive deal if you crash. You just sort of resume and so that's one of the new features. Another of the new features is camera lock. So
Khoan từ từ. Rồi. Rồi luôn. Rồi. Ok.
resume, and so that's one of the
Đây,
new
đây, đây, đây.
features.
Đây, nhìn mấy cái vòng này nó sẽ khác. Thì các bạn chú ý.
Another of the new features is camera lock. So if you press, so here's what it looks like normally if you were to
Camera
roll
lock.
left and right. As you can see, the camera's staying perfectly level. If you press
Yeah.
X on your keyboard,
Khóa
the
camera.
camera
Rồi.
actually locks to the plane,
Đã
and
phải luôn.
regardless of how you move it, you still move it like you do normally, but except that your plane is now the center of the camera, and it works in first person and everything. If you have it, first person will always be locked to the plane, but yeah, this lets you change what it's like in third person view. Alright, and another thing in the internal workings is that in the old version, it was coded in a way which meant that if you had a slower device, you'd actually accelerate slower. Now, what it does is it works out the time between each physics loop and uses that to ensure that regardless of frame rate, you'll always accelerate at the same speed. So if you ever had a bad device and you're trying to do formation flying with people, you'd probably notice that they accelerate a lot quicker than you if they have a faster device. But now, that is not the case. And another thing is when in advanced mode, when you use A&D, that is not the case. And another
Đây. Này dường như mấy đèn gì á cũng chưa biết nữa.
Another thing is when in advanced mode, when you use A&D for rudder, it smooths out, which feels a lot nicer. So another thing that's new in the new plane kit is that the throttle acts on a curve, meaning it's easier to modulate your speeds at lower throttles. So as you can see, I'm taxing here, and I'm at 9% throttle but only going 5 knots. In the old version, if you went 9% throttle, it would be 9% of your top speed, so I'd be going much faster. And another new feature is that there are stall sounds for certain aircraft, so here on the Airbus, you can hear that one. And also the stall is more realistic. And another feature is that the throttle acts more like a throttle, in the sense that in the old version it was more of a speed cap. It kind of like limited your speed, and you'd, regardless of throttle, accelerate or decelerate at the same rate. Now, the acceleration is proportional to the throttle. So in most cases, the higher the throttle, the faster you'll accelerate. And another fairly large feature is that when you go in cruise mode, which is F, if the pilot jumps out, the plane remains in the sky. So you can walk...
Này có thể nhảy ra ngoài luôn. Ngày trước là nhảy ra ngoài một cái là máy bay nó rơi luôn, rồi nhảy ra ngoài thì có thể đi thoải mái. Good.
Walk around, and then you can get back in, and your throttle will still remain at the same percent, and when you uncruise, you'll still be going at the same speed, and you can resume your flight as normal. Another thing also is that when the pilot jumps out in cruise mode, it will automatically lock the plane so that only they can then get back in the pilot seat to prevent other people from stealing it from them. Another note is that fuel is no longer client-sided, so if you don't have infinite fuel on, what it means is no longer client-sided.
Vì hôm nay ông nói là cái bình xăng, cái nhiên liệu của mấy chiếc máy bay này nó không có nhiều. Chắc vậy. Trừ khi các bạn bật cái
what it means
infinite
is
fuel
that if you run out of fuel, it won't just be your screen that the fuel has run out for, it will be on the server, so everyone, that plane for everyone will have run out of fuel. Before, it was only for you, so if someone else got in, it would be at full fuel. So in the old version, when you were landing, you had to be careful not to stall your nose when...
Đây, Landspeed. Thì hôm nay em nói là nếu mà ở trong phiên bản cũ thì lúc mà hạ cánh ấy, là tôi sợ là cái vận tốc nó thấp quá thì nó sẽ còi và thất tốc, nó sẽ rơi. Nhưng giờ đây,
So if someone else got in, it would
nếu
be
mà
at full fuel.
cái
So in the
vận
old
tốc nào
version,
mà
when you were
nó
landing,
đủ
you
cho
had to
họ
be
cánh á, thì ở
careful
trên đây nó
not
sẽ hiện
to
cái chữ
stall your
Landspeed
nose
ở
when
trên
you
đây nè.
were touching
Đó.
down. So your back wheels might have touched down, but then you went too slowly and your nose would just flop onto the ground. Well, here's my attempt at a way around this. It's introducing a new concept called landing speed. So it's above landing speed is a window between your stall speed and your airborne speeds, your takeoff speed. So if you're below your takeoff speed and above your stall speed, you'll see a green message appear called Landspeed. So I've got the Landspeed's GUI
Đây, cái đèn mới nha. Đẹp phết.
showing. So what that means is that when I land and I touch my nose down, it will automatically switch me into the taxi mode, and then I can close my throttle, and there's no risk of me stalling my nose as long as I simply just keep in that land speed window. And before we move on to the massive feature of the new plane kit, this is also a fairly major new feature,
New
and that
plane
is
kit.
brand new VTOL mode. So previously, VTOL mode was completely
Ủa,
separate
cái này
from the
cũ mà.
normal flying
Bây giờ
mode.
phải new plane.
However,
New plane kit.
now it is not. It is integrated into it, and you'll know.
Ôi, trời. Hôm nay ông mặc min orange 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Trên đây. Throttle. Ngày xưa chỉ có như vậy thôi, đúng không? Giờ thêm cả cái này nữa. Cái này điều khiển làm sao? Và control đi rồi biết.
Notice when in a VTOL aircraft, you'll see I've got this separate VTOL throttle, and in VTOL aircraft,
Ai, rồi. Rudder, ở đây là rudder nha. Đây, throttle. Cái này như là chữ HVF đúng không ta? Không nhìn rõ nữa, mờ quá.
R and F are unbound from cruise and altitude hold and are
Touch engine là như thế nào ta? Hoán đổi hả? Chịu.
programs to be VTOL throttle up and VTOL throttle down. You've also, of course, got your normal throttle, which is exactly the same as in non-VTOL aircraft. VTOL aircraft do fly exactly the same as normal aircraft now. There's not a separate...
Rồi mình chỉ muốn là update cái animation. Cái bắn nè, cái flap nè, cái rudder nè. Animation đẹp.
mode for it. You know, you can fly them just as you would a normal aircraft. But they also have the VTOL throttle. So what does that mean? Well, if I just quickly land, so I've got my VTOL throttle. If I set it to about 60%, you'll notice I start to...
Từ. Nếu mà
I've got my VTOL throttle. If I set it to about 60%, you'll notice
nếu mà video tức là cánh thẳng đứng nè, đây flap 2 thì trong khoảng 60% ở đây là nó sẽ bay lên, còn dưới 60 sẽ hạ xuống.
I start to lift off. So around 40% is a perfectly level hover. All the way up to 100, you'll start...
Đó, trong khoảng 40% là tốt để cho đứng trên không.
Start ascending, and below 40% you'll start descending.
Nếu mà dưới 40 thì nó
It's
sẽ
obviously been designed for
slap down
ease
xuống,
of
hạ cánh
access and
xuống.
enjoyment, not realism. So you can actually combine the VTOL throttle with the normal throttle, and you can use this to do, for example, short takeoffs and short landings. So if I go about 31% VTOL throttle, for example, now when I do a takeoff, you'll see I get airborne much quicker than without any, and I can do those really cool short takeoffs.
Nếu mà flap 2
Similarly, with
để
short
video này
landings,
nè
if I go maybe
31%,
20% VTOL
rồi
throttle,
tăng cái này lên
I don't need to
khoảng
be
bao nhiêu
going
phần
that
trăm đó,
fast in
nó
order
sẽ
to
đủ vận
do
tốc
a
để cất
nice
cánh.
landing.
Này khá là tiện.
And there's Orange, who is getting run
Beautiful.
over. Now the big deal of the update, which I have saved till last. Right, so the big feature Right, so the big feature is shared cockpit. Yay! So,
Sẽ
I think in
Cockpit.
order to demonstrate this further,
À,
I will be the co-pilot. So I'm going to jump out and let Orange be the pilot, and I will become the co-pilot.
ê, cái này có phải là cái ông ở full control? Cái này có phải cái ông con phó được điều khiển máy bay không ta? Mong muốn đó từ lâu lắm luôn rồi.
So I'm in the co-pilot seat, and as you can see, I still have the GY, but I'm not doing anything right
Đây,
now.
have the
Orange is doing
chill,
all the flying.
đây.
So if you take off Orange, you'll see when he moves the throttle and the flaps and everything, they all change for me.
Đó,
So
điều
I've
khiển được
got
hết
like
luôn.
a duplicate GUI so that I can see what the pilot's doing.
Đấy,
Okay, so I can
Good.
see what they're doing, but I actually want to do stuff. Well, there are two types of control. You can either, well actually there's three. There's the
có hai
co-pilot,
loại,
you
có
can
hai
have no
loại điều
control,
khiển.
the pilot doesn't let them do anything. You can have limited control, or you can have full control. And
Have limited control, kiểu giới hạn điều khiển là chỉ điều khiển được kiểu điều khiển được mấy cái cơ bản, ví dụ như là flap, rudder, rồi bánh xe, bánh lăng nè, đó. Điều khiển cái cơ bản thôi, còn full control là đầy đủ hết cái điều khiển, có thể điều khiển máy bay qua lại, đồ, nó lên xuống qua lại gì đó, các hạ cánh gì đó, tùy.
And so, yes, as you can see, I have full control right now, but we'll get into it step by step. So if you take back control to yourself, Orange, so if I press G and attempt to do flaps right now, nothing happens. Okay, now if you give me limited control by pressing the J key, what that means is that I can do gear.
Đó, nếu mà limited control thì cái này ống chỉ điều khiển được thấy cái
And this is useful if
flap
you
nè,
want
rồi
your co-pilot to
bánh
handle
xe
that
thôi.
stuff.
Đó.
So you can give them limited control with the J key as the pilot. The co-pilot
Là chỉ có giới hạn
can't
thôi,
change any of the
giới hạn mấy
controls.
cái đó
Only
thôi.
the pilot has access to give control and take control. So that's J does limited. Now, if you press U, that gives me full control, and I'm actually
Full
the one
control
flying
là
the
có
plane.
thể
And of
điều
course,
khiển máy
that
bay
means
qua
I
lại
can
đi
do
xuống.
flaps,
Đó.
I can do
Tất
gear.
cả
But as the
rudder, rồi
pilot, he is
gear,
also
rồi
able
flap.
to do gear and
Đầy
flaps.
đủ
So
hết.
if you do gear and flaps now, which as you can see, I'm not doing that, he is doing that. So it actually lets you pass control fully or limitedly between the pilot and co-pilot. And at any point, he can take the control back. And as you can see, he took control, and he can give it, he can spam it if he really wants.
Đó, các bạn có thể thấy ông này ông làm được nghiêm máy bay khi mà tắt cái full control thì nó sẽ trở về bình thường, khá hay.
And as you can see, he took control, and he can give it, he can spam it if he really wants. But yes, this is quite a new. I think this is probably a first in Roblox. I'm not entirely sure. There may well be other games that let you do this, but this was probably the main reason why I wanted to completely make a brand new plane system, and that was just so things like this would fit in perfectly, and I wouldn't have to really hack them in. It would be more of an actual permanent solution.
Yeah.
So before we get into some of the non-plane related stuff, just a couple of other things that have been added. So the seating system is more reliable now. Just thought I'd let you know, so when you get in a seat, it will probably register a lot quicker because it's using a different method. And also, the server options panel is much better because you
Server
have much
option.
more control over the precise time of day. And it has been decoded internally, but you probably can't see much of a difference for the other things. Okay, now onto one of the most spectacular looking parts of the update. Obviously, you can see there's a new sky. Wow.
Ờ,
But
mặt trời
if
mới.
it
Khá là
magically
đẹp.
becomes night. Wow, it magically became night.
Ủa?
Have a look. Comes night. Wow, it
À,
magically
đây. Bỏ cái này ra. Đấy, nhìn sân bay à.
became night.
Đấy. Các tòa nhà chung cư rồi, đèn sáng, taxiway rồi. Đầy đủ hết. Đầy đủ tất cả đèn rồi, đèn đường rồi nữa nè. Đó. đẹp.
Have a look at that.
Wow.
Wow, and what type of lights are there, I wonder?
Yeah, so we have different types of, I guess you'd call dynamic lights, which are on
Sure.
all the separate
Dynamic
islands.
light.
As you can see, we're above
Cái đèn phía sau đồng bằng.
Rockford now. So if you take a look at the city, if Sam's looking down there, he is, excellent.
Yes.
You can see the skyscrapers have several windows on each that are lit up. They also have the anti-collision lights on top of
Đó thì làm nói cái sổ cái tòa nhà này nó sáng đèn.
You can see the parking lot for the mall if you're American, or the shopping centre if you're from the UK, has its own little
Có thể
parking
nhìn
lights. The
chỗ
streets,
đậu của máy bay.
most of the main
Rồi
streets
tất
have
cả
street lights on them
các
as
khu
well.
đô thị.
And if you look at the
Đó đây là
airports, there's
đây là cái
especially Mela, you
đèn
can see in the distance
trước và
the
sau đồng bằng.
brighter sort of lights for the terminal that light up the parking areas. And if you look in the ocean as well, just past Mela, you can see the HMS Queen Elizabeth lit up as well.
Queen Elizabeth.
It just adds a
Nó
nice
kiểu như là
extra
sân
bit of
bay chẳng
life
hạn.
to the game, especially when you're flying in at night to an airport. It looks lovely.
It looks
If we fly over to Perth,
Các bạn có thể thấy luôn
Got it
cái ở
here.
phía xa xa nha.
bear with me there.
Just a second.
We just
On
need
our
the
way.
flipping Concorde for this.
Yeah, we can sort of look at dawn. Like the sky looks spectacular, doesn't it? It's dusky.
Oh yeah,
Look at that.
look at that, beautiful.
Wow. And the lights are still on, so it looks. Oh, what a view!
Mom, get the camera.
And now let's have a look. So that's dusk. What about dawn? Dawn
Bit
looks
of
pretty
pink.
good as well. Look at that! Wow. This
But yeah, the lights turn on and off
oh,
in the morning and the evening. They're not on all the time.
yeah.
They're not.
Cái đèn nó sẽ bật lên và tắt đi. Thì bật lên lúc nào, tắt đi lúc nào. Biết rồi chứ.
Be a slight hit on performance, like a few FPS if you've got a weaker computer, but I feel like it's a fair enough trade-off.
Yes, definitely.
Because if you've got a computer that can run Roblox at full graphics quite easily, then you still have a solid 60 FPS. There's no FPS drops
Nói to
at all from it, which is
nghe
I think it's quite
bao
nice.
tai.
And on our way to Perth, we will pass St Bartholomew, which I think looks really, really good with the new lighting that Orange has done. If in the rare scenario where there are multiple people who have access to the server options in the same server, so either one person is staff and one person is a VIP
Các bạn nhìn Bartholomew
server
nè.
owner or whatever, it actually
Đẹp
like,
á.
the slider
Đẹp chưa?
actually like moves live on the other person's
Đèn
screen.
rồi chằng chịt luôn.
Okay.
Tôi biết
Yeah,
được.
look at that.
Wow.
The port here looks lovely.
Yeah, look! Oh my gosh! Just look at that. That is just wow. This should not be allowed. This is just too good for Roblox.
Sân bay.
Should we do a shout out to Aeronautica for
Đèn đường băng.
the idea?
Yes. Shout out to Aeronautica for having is it billboard GUIs for the sort of lights to make them see
Yeah, one of the
high distances.
Cái đèn này tận 20
the
phút rồi.
staff were flying around on there, and they sent a
Cho nên
screenshot.
khá
And I was
lâu.
like, "Damn, that looks good." So I used theirs as inspiration, and I can see why they've done it because it looks amazing.
It does. It
So
certainly does.
thank you to them for the idea. Yeah, there you go. It's loaded in now.
Oh wow! Look at that. As it loads in, you can just see those wonderful.
Đường băng.
Wow.
Đẹp thật.
Look at that. That's just colourful. It's amazing.
Amazing.
Wow.
Amazing
If we go
picture.
for an approach as well at Perth, you can see the updated runway
Tiếp cận,
landing line.
Why didn't we use this as a great time for me to do the flaps and gear? If you give me some limited
Nói
control.
There you go,
điều
Sam.
là
Okay, I'm going to bring the gear down now. There we go.
cái đèn á.
Little overspeed.
Nó nhìn cái đèn mà trước và sau đường băng này nè. Cái đèn sau tôi nữa xoay tới. Rồi tí.
On the gear, no, doesn't do him any harm.
I'm just increasing the drag because, yeah, we've just been playing DCS for a very long time. It's been great fun.
Oh yeah.
The F-15.
Sam definitely didn't crash at the end.
No. Okay.
Can I have flaps one, please, sir?
Okay, flaps coming down. There we go.
Nice.
And
Go on, another one as well, for good measure. Go on.
Yes, you go.
Yes.
Might as well.
So, terrible approach here, but don't worry about that. Oops.
I only have.
But yeah, if you have a look, I forgot the term for them now, but
ILS is like the system.
All right. But yeah, they're there.
Này, Landspeed.
The landing things that you see at the...
Đây, chính là cái đèn này, đèn trước sau nói là cho nó sáng hơn. Hầu như là không thấy một cái gì luôn. Mà mình sẽ fix lại cái đèn nó sẽ sáng hơn.
Big airports.
Yes. We have the 4 white. We got the 1 red now. Come on. It's a bit heavy, this boy. There we go. We're in land speed now, so we're the right speed for the landing.
Yeah. A nice bit of smoke there.
This can be a better landing than yours.
Kind of back as well. And if it's not too terrible.
Đó, này cái đèn này cần cho nó sáng hơn nha.
But it's difficult to get it right because Roblox just isn't very reliable.
For detecting.
Roblox just isn't very reliable.
What? Taxi. Đâu? Taxi rồi. Vẫn chưa shut down. Vẫn chưa chạm bắt xuống. Một cái nữa muốn fix đó chính là cái này.
For detecting collisions.
Right. Oh yes, another thing that I've done is push back. You can sort of be more precise with your speeds, regardless of top speed of the plane. As you can see, my my propellers, they're starting to become blurred now, and then they're fully blurred by now. And as you can see, they look a lot better than just these that they were before. Cannot believe that we've managed to get all the new features in one video. We have there were other things, but they were mainly sort of behind the scenes, like internal working, so I didn't include them in this video. But that is pretty much everything in this update. And let's see how long. I don't know how long the recording's been going. Probably a very long time. But yeah, so this has been the past few months. We've been working hard, and quite a few bugs causing us setbacks and things. Just going through, just fixing all the bugs. It's kind of I'm amazed that we're finally done, because it was a huge task to get all this stuff done. It's probably the equivalent of 4 of the major updates that we do. I think the new plane kit is obviously a game changer, but then we've the lights are spectacular, and the sky and everything, it's pretty incredible, and it feels great that it's all done. And so if you're still watching to this point, I think the updates will be coming out relatively soon, next few days, maybe next week or so.
Yeah, around the 1st of October.
Đây cũng là một cái nổi cái còi. The 1st of October tháng 10. Wow. Ở đâu ý cái này ông nói bạch tuộc October. Nghĩa là tháng 10 á. October tháng 10. Thì ok. Hôm nay mình quay là 26 9 rồi. Okay.
Hopefully. There's a lot of testing needed, and we need to get some public testing going at some point, hopefully. So keep your eye out on the test server.
Test server may be opened at some point.
Có thể chơi trong test server nha. Test server thì thỉnh thoảng nó mới mở cửa, nó mới mở ra cho mình chơi. Thì ok. Thì nào update lên mình quay cho các bạn xem. Yên tâm đi, các bạn sẽ được trải nghiệm.
Yes.
Indeed.
And so yeah, I guess that is us signing off after a very, very long period of working. It's honestly, a few months ago I was just starting from scratch with the new plane kit, and it's kind of amazing to see after how Orange has spent many hours implementing all the new planes into it. It's so cool to see them all updated.
Rất nhiều giờ thì ổng chơi nha. Thì ổng làm ra cái này.
Empty scripts to now a fully working kit with every plane in it. So it feels very good. And so thank you very much for watching. I really hope that you
Ok. Ok thì video của mình cũng kết thúc rồi. Ok thì một thứ hai chấm Landspeed nhá. Thì này update này cũng khá là ok, khá là tuyệt. Mình muốn là fix lại cái đèn này cho nó sáng hơn nữa. Ở cái biển hồi nãy mình cũng nói.
will enjoy the updates. We both spent a very long time working on this, and this is the next. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway,
Next stage in the game.
next stage in the game, yeah, pretty much.
You leveled up.
Bye-bye.
It's now level 4 instead of level 2.
Yes.
You can't use emotes. That's a shame.
Oh,
Goodbye.
Bye.